So when we talk about the history of St. Augustine, it wasn't just the Spanish that were here. They had a lot of help. They had help from people that we now know as freedom seekers. They came down as enslaved people from Georgia and the Carolinas, and they escaped from there, hearing about this colony of St. Augustine, and if they promised to help defend the city of St. Augustine, then they would be given a piece of land where they could start a new life for their families here. They just had to follow the Catholic religion and help the Spanish. They didn't know exactly what they would be coming to here, but they knew that it was better than what they had been through as enslaved people. So they started making their way through the marsh here to St. Augustine to help defend the city. Let's find out a little bit more about those people now. The freedom seekers.
I hope you're friendly, dude. I want you to promise that you won't tell anybody you see us out here. Please don't let me over here. We come on such a long, hard thing. We come from a place up in the Carolinas, Charlestown, and we were forced to work on a rice plantation up there. Working in those rice paddies with those plants are so hard, they cut your hands and hurt your legs. It was so hard. It was such a hard life. I don't think we could have made it much longer up there in those rice fields. But word came down to the plantation about a place in Spanish La Florida called St. Augustine. St. Augustine. They said if a slave could make it to St. Augustine, they could be free. To be free, and we want to be free. We want to be free. But it took us a while. It took us a long while to make up our minds to run, because we knew if we got caught running away, they were going to beat us for sure. They might cripple us. They might even kill us for running. But one night, with this clothes we had on, we just ran. We just headed south to St. Augustine. Just headed running for our freedom. And it's been a long, hard journey. Through swamps and forests, eating berries and whatever we could find on the trail to eat. Now, the Yamasi Indians, they did help us. They were so helpful. They knew the land, so they could show us what good to eat and what we shouldn't even touch. And they knew the trail south. They helped us, but even with their help, it was hard. It's been so hard. We've come through forests so thick with trees and so tall that you couldn't even see the sky. Sleep in the daytime and run at night. And we're running through swamps with snakes and alligators, mud and water and bugs that you just think are going to eat you to death. It has been so hard. It's been so hard for us. But we had to keep going. We just got to make it to St. Augustine. I'm sorry. I've taken up a lot of your time already. And right now, I don't even, are we headed in the right direction? I'm not even sure if we're going in the right, are we close to St. Augustine? But you go. Be safe. You have a safe trip. But I must warn you, I'm going to tell you, there's bounty hunters in these woods. There's slave catchers in these woods. And they will probably offer you something to give us to tell them that you saw us, to tell them where we are. But please, I'm begging you, please don't let them know where we are. Please don't tell them you saw us. Because our lives depend on it. Our lives depend on it. We're just trying to be free. Safe travels to you. Safe travels to you.
You know, those enslaved people who were making their way here to St. Augustine, they had help from some of the Yamasi tribe who helped them to navigate through the marsh and find their way and get here to St. Augustine to start that new life. Let's meet their chief now and find out a little bit more about them.
Ane miki siku holam hachito lame Yamasi ajo miko Yamasi yate Ane onke he chite. But I know you prefer English.
Yes.
Do you?
Yes.
Good. And the first question I have to ask, are you friends or enemies?
Friends.
Are you sure? I'll ask again. Friends or enemies?
Friends.
Good. That's how I expect friends to answer. As friends, then I must ask, have you heard of my people? The Yamasis. No.
No.
That's because the British did a great job. See, we, Yamasi, were considered the fiercest of Indian tribes. We lived on all the land you see. The British call it Carolina. We lived there. Chacha, Georgia. La Florida, according to the Spanish. None of them speak the truth because we understood this land to be what grandfather gave us. A land for us all to be on. However, the British, whom we once called friends, allies, they repaid us by showing them how to farm, how to hunt, and even going to war for them by putting us in slavery. Us helping them survive was as simply as them putting us in slavery. Why? Because the British went across the big water. They took a people from their homeland of Africa. They brought them here as slaves. And see, the Yamasi, we look much like the African people they brought over here because of our skin. The color of our skin. See, it was much cheaper for the British to bring a Yamasi over and put us into slavery than it was for them to go across the water and bring Africans back. They put us amongst the African people and started calling us Negroes. So we no longer became known as Yamasi, the greatest of Indian tribes. Became known as Negroes. They forced us to war with them. The great Yamasi Indian tribe, once friends and allies of the British people, now at war for our freedom. So we started raiding the slave plantations to free our people. Because not only did they take our people, they took the most valuable of our people, our women, our mothers, our children, our elders. Without our mothers, there is no life. Without our children, there is no future. Without our elders to teach us, we had no wisdom. They took the most valuable from us. And they didn't call us Yamasi anymore. They called us property. So we raided their slave plantations and we took our people back. We did this at night and followed the stars to a place where the Spanish gave us called La Florida to be free. And when we did that, the British stopped again calling us Yamasi and started naming us runaways, wild ones. The Spanish name for this is Seminole, Seminoles. This is why you do not remember my people. We no longer were Yamasi, the fiercest of Indian tribes. We became known as runaways. These Seminoles, slaves. Not only did we lose our identity and our freedom that we fought for, we had to fight for it by trekking through the swamp because they sent their slave catchers after us with their dogs. The only way we could lose their scent was by traveling through the swamp, through the water. What's in the swamp? Zapate, gators. Cascochube, panthers. Nukusi, bears, snakes. Not only were we fighting for our survival and freedom, we had to fight nature. And we traveled much like these type of groups, about the size of you all, with our children, elders, babies, through the swamp, with slave catchers chasing us, dogs, mothers. What do babies do when they're hungry?
Cry.
They cry. What do children do when they're bored and they want to play? They make noise. The greatest loss our mothers endured was having to take the lives of their own babies for the survival of our people, so that we would not be caught. But the alternative was our children going back to the British on slave plantations and being used with ropes around their necks, being put at rivers and creeks and used as gator bait. No, our mothers chose freedom for their children at their hands, which meant death. Now, off script. I do not tell this story because I'm a reenactor. I tell you this story because I am the actual chief of the Yamasi Indian people today. Fort Mose brings me here every year to share my people's story, to honor my people. They did not allow a reenactor to tell our story. They wanted to be heard from the Yamasi people. You think you came here to learn about slaves, slavery, the Underground Railroad, how the savages survived, but you didn't. Whatever reason brought you here, we like to think it was our ancestors bringing you here to hear their voices, to hear their story. Let it be told by one of their own. Without their sacrifice, we would not be here. I would not be here to tell you the story. Not only that, we were not savages. We weren't just Indians. Today we live in a world in America where our children go to war. Our grandparents went to war to fight for what? Freedom. And we consider them heroes. Yet we're still savages. We're still the Indians. We didn't even have a place on the Underground Railroad. Everyone thought slaves did it on their own. We've forgotten history. We forgot what it took for us to survive. My ancestors helped no matter who it was, no matter what skin tone you were, no what race you went by, we helped. We gave our lives for all those we called friends. The only thing we ask today is remember my people. Remember the Yamasi people, the runaways they named Seminoles. Remember my ancestors. This is what they called you here for. They called you here to remember them. The land that you walk on is holy to my people. It's sacred to my people. Their blood is on these grounds. They died here. They gave their lives for freedom. Not just their own, for everyone. So remember the heroes we call Native Americans. Remember the Yamasi people and what we gave up and what we lost. I will not hold you up, and I won't say bye because we don't believe bye and death is forever. We will see each other again in this life or the next. And when we do, we will meet again and talk. But until then, I only say to you, until we see each other again, and in my language, that is Tihichulaga. Until I see you again, my family, remember my people, please.
Wow, that was a powerful message from the chief. I think we can all learn a little bit from his words. But let's go find out a little bit of information about the bounty hunters, the people that were trying to make money off of those enslaved people by capturing them and turning them back over to the people that claim the ownership of those enslaved people. Let's go meet the bounty hunters.
You know, Florida can be quite harsh. Between the biting bugs, the hot baking sun, and alligators. They can cut any trip short. You see, I'm from the foothills of Georgia, and I made my way down south, tracking and trapping animals such as bears, coyotes, and even alligators. But my time here, I've caught word there's bigger bounty than all those combined. You see, the English government is paying handsomely for all the runaway slaves from as far north as South Carolina. And well, consider myself a businessman, and I got resources to get you along your journey, but it comes at a price. Just a simple question, actually. If you can answer it, then whatever I have is yours. So have y'all seen any runaway slaves?
No.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Now, you seem like a smart fellow. And let me tell you, the trip's only getting longer. I got all the resources you need: water, food, pelts. And tell me, one more time, have you guys seen any runaway slaves?
No.
Well, you got nothing for me. I got nothing for any one of you. So why don't y'all go take a hike and bother somebody else?
You know, it's been a long journey so far. We're getting closer. Those enslaved people, imagine the things that they had to endure. Marching 300 miles through this marsh. You're getting closer, but you're still not there yet. Now, one of the requirements that they had to fulfill was following the Catholic religion. So meeting a Franciscan friar along the way would give them some peace, letting them know that they're getting closer. This has not been an easy journey for them. Think of the things that they had to give up in order to come here, but still not knowing exactly what they're going to encounter. I've got a few mosquitoes flying around me right now. I can't imagine coming through the marsh way back in the 15 and 1600s. Okay, let's continue this journey.
So good to see you. Hi, come closer. Ah, what a bunch of good friends. So good to see you. Do not be afraid. It is said that the pastor will get the very last person, so keep up with the group. Ah, it's so good to see you. You must be on your way to Mose, yes? Yes? Yes. I'm Padre Vilches. I'm actually a spiritual leader for the Catholic Church at Mose. I'm actually on my way to St. Augustine to talk to my superiors about the great things that are happening at Mose. Apparently you have heard the same, have you? Yes, because you're on this trail to freedom. You're almost there. Ah, the story of Mose is an interesting one. Very hardworking people at Mose. The church is about finished. There are 2 residences being built, and all by the people of Mose. Many have brought their skills of building. Our city of St. Augustine would not survive without these great skills. Skills like carpenters. What else? What else do you need to build a city? I'm sorry? Architects? Yes. Need to figure out what you want to build before you build it. Yes. Blacksmiths. Ironsmiths.
Farmers.
Farmers. Yes. People that produce food. I tell you, many people travel to St. Augustine every morning from Mose. They find a fair wage. They sell their wares. They hunt and fish the area. And they take everything that they've caught and they make a fair wage. Many of you hopefully will serve in the militia. Will you help protect against the British to the north? Will you serve? Oh, we do appreciate your hard work. Thank you. Ah, these are hardworking people. It's not been so good for the Brits, has it? No, they send down their slave catchers. And we say, no, you don't have any place here, slave catchers. You go home, for these are free citizens of Spain. You're almost there on this trail to freedom, and I hope to meet with each one of you. We will break bread together, and we will learn the Word of God. I will see you soon.